It's 2 a.m. The glow of a smartphone cuts through the dark bedroom. It's a low balance alert. A guy named John swipes it away without even fully opening his eyes, the same way you'd swat a mosquito. He rolls over and falls back asleep in a house that cost more than most people will earn in a decade. On paper, John is crushing it. He pulls in a $200,000 a year salary. He's got a leased German SUV parked in the driveway and a job title that looks absolutely flawless on LinkedIn. If you looked at his life from the outside, you'd think he's won the game. But now, I want you to meet Elena. Elena works at the exact same company. She started the same month. She has the exact same $200,000 salary. But Elena sleeps straight through the night. Her car is 5 years old and fully paid off. Her apartment is smaller, but she has a quiet, steadily growing number in her investment accounts. That means she could walk into her boss's office tomorrow, hand in her badge, and quit without breaking a sweat. Same income, opposite lives, and the entire difference comes down to one single metric that neither of them circles on their paycheck. Today, we are talking about a phenomenon that nobody wants to admit out loud. We are breaking down the high-income poverty trap. We're going to look at how you can make $250,000 a year and still be completely, hopelessly broke. If you've ever looked at your paycheck and then looked at your checking account and felt like those two numbers belong to two different people, this video is for you. Before you click away thinking, oh, this is just a video about rich people's problems and I don't make 200 grand. Hold on. This is a trap that works exactly the same whether you make $60,000 or $600,000. It's just that the numbers get bigger. John is just standing further up the exact same ladder you are on. Here's a reality check. Income and wealth are two completely different machines. Income is what comes in. Wealth is what you keep. Depending on the survey you read, around 50% of Americans earning over 6 figures claim to be living paycheck to paycheck. And at the absolute top, 1 in 3 people making over $200,000 a year say the exact same thing. Let that sink in. 1/5 of $1,000,000 a year, and they are stretching to make it to the 31st of the month. Bank of America looked at actual account data, not just how people feel, but real spending, and found that 1 in 5 households making over $150,000 is burning almost everything that comes in just to cover basic necessities. So, where does a $200,000 salary actually go? Because $200K is a lot of money. Let's track it, dollar by dollar, and watch it vanish. First up, the invisible hand of taxes. When you get a massive raise, a huge chunk of it was never really yours to begin with. We have a progressive tax system here in the U.S. A lot of people misunderstand this. A raise won't secretly make you poor by pushing your entire income into a higher bracket. Only the dollars inside that new bracket get taxed higher. But here's the flip side. Every extra dollar you earn at the top is taxed at your absolute highest marginal rate. John celebrates his big raise, but 1/3 of it evaporates before it ever hits direct deposit. Then you stack on payroll taxes, Social Security, Medicare, then the Medicare surcharge that kicks in right over $200,000 just for the high earners. And then geography quietly mugs you. If John lives in a high-tax state like California or New York, he hands over another massive slice. If Elena took the exact same job in Texas or Florida, states with no income tax, she keeps thousands more every single year. Add it all up, and a high earner in a coastal city can watch 35 to 40% of their gross salary vanish before they even buy a cup of coffee. That $200,000 life John thinks he's living, he's actually budgeting with about $130,000. Now, I want to be fair here. It would be incredibly easy to say, well, taxes are high, the government takes it all. But that's a cop-out. The truth is, even after taxes, John is clearing more cash than most families will ever see. People raise 3 kids on what John pays just for his car note and downtown parking. So, by that logic, John just has a discipline problem, right?
The fix is obvious. Spend less, you spoiled genius. But it's not that simple. Because the system John is living inside is engineered to turn every single dollar of his raise into a fixed, recurring bill. Nobody wakes up and makes one insane $1 million mistake. They make 20 totally reasonable, easily justifiable decisions. This is called lifestyle creep, and it is the most polite financial disaster in America. You get a raise, you feel fantastic, and almost instantly, without even having a formal sit-down meeting with yourself, you upgrade. You get a slightly nicer apartment because you need the space. You get a slightly nicer car because safety features. You stop looking at the prices on the dinner menu. You order DoorDash instead of cooking because you work hard and you've earned it. None of it feels reckless. Every single purchase makes sense in a vacuum. But cumulatively, your spending rises to completely swallow your new income. Meanwhile, your savings rate, the actual engine that builds wealth, hasn't moved an inch.
Psychologists have a term for this. It's called hedonic adaptation. It basically means that humans are built to get used to things very quickly. If you get a $5,000 raise, research shows it will boost your happiness for exactly 6 months. After 6 months, the new thing becomes the normal thing. Your brain resets, and now you need another raise just to feel the same baseline level of okay. It's a treadmill that bills you monthly. You are sprinting, the scenery isn't changing, and you're paying a premium subscription for the privilege. This is the exact fork in the road where John and Elena split. When Elena got a raise, she did one quietly radical thing. She banked the raise before her lifestyle even knew it existed. She kept living like the version of herself from 2 raises ago. Let's look at the ground John is actually standing on. A massive salary in the wrong zip code is a magic trick where your money vanishes and absolutely nobody is impressed. In a lot of coastal U.S. metros, a starter home has a 7-figure price tag. An HOA will fine you $200 because your mailbox is the wrong shade of beige. In these cities, making $250,000 puts you squarely in the statistical middle class. You are making $250,000, and your reward is a decent apartment and a 45-minute commute. But here is what really builds the cage: fixed costs. John didn't just spend his money, he legally committed to spending money on a schedule for years into the future. Let's look at the average American trap. First, there's the mortgage on the overpriced house. If he has a kid, daycare in a major metro runs around $1,800 to $2,500 a month per child. Then there are the cars. The average monthly payment for a new car in America is now pushing $750 a month, and 1 in 6 new buyers are signing up for a payment of over $1,000 a month. $1,000 a month for a depreciating pile of metal that loses 20% of its value the second its tires touch public pavement. John has 2 of those in the driveway, because of course he does. Here is the exact moment the cage clicks shut for John. Let's say it's spring. John gets his annual bonus or his stock options vest. $100,000. It's real money with his name on it. For exactly 24 hours, John feels incredibly rich. Then he does the math. A huge chunk goes straight back to the IRS. The rest is already spoken for before it even clears the bank. It goes to property taxes, it goes to fixing the roof, it goes to paying down the credit card debt he floated because he is good for it. So he closes his laptop, looks at his kid, and says, "We can't swing summer camp this year." Making $200,000 a year with a $100,000 bonus, and you can't afford a summer camp. That is not a man who is bad at math. That is a man whose money is entirely pointed at something else before he even wakes up. He is no longer an earner. He is a highly paid courier, taking cash from his employer and immediately handing it out to a list of people he owes. That is what golden handcuffs are. It's not a metaphor. It is a monthly auto pay. This brings us to the core illusion of the high-income poverty trap. From the outside, John looks rich. He's got the house, the cars, the title, but being rich on paper and being actually rich are 2 different sports. Confusing them will quietly wreck your life. There is only one number that actually matters. It's not your salary, it's your net worth. Everything you own minus everything you owe. If you look up the average net worth of an American household, it looks pretty high, often north of $1 million depending on the data set, but averages are liars. If three broke guys are sitting in a bar and Elon Musk walks in, the average net worth in that room just became $60 billion. It doesn't mean the three guys can afford their next beer. Even the top 10% of earners usually have a few million, not the private jet succession-style wealth that pop culture tricks us into believing. And a massive chunk of that millionaire status is what we call phantom wealth. Phantom wealth looks incredible on an Excel spreadsheet, but it does absolutely nothing for you on a Tuesday morning when life punches you in the mouth. Phantom wealth is home equity you can't easily touch without selling the roof over your head. It's a 401k you can't crack open for another 20 years without taking a massive tax penalty. It's unvested stock options. You cannot eat a spreadsheet. You cannot hand the mechanic a slice of your home equity when your transmission blows. Years ago, a book called The Millionaire Next Door completely shattered the illusion of wealth in America. It proved that real millionaires were rarely the flashy ones. They were boring people. They lived in modest houses. They drove paid-off trucks. The authors coined a term for people like John. They called them under-accumulators of wealth, high income, low net worth. The guys with the least luxury cars and the designer watches usually had absolutely nothing behind the curtain. So we've stripped away the taxes, the fixed costs, the phantom wealth. What's left? What is the one number that actually decides if you're going to spend your life on a treadmill or if you actually get to buy your freedom? It is your savings rate, the percentage of what you earn that you keep and put to work. Let me show you, using simple math, just how violently this one metric alters the trajectory of your life. Let's look at John and Elena one more time. Both make $200,000. John, after all his reasonable upgrades, saves about 5% of his income. He invests $10,000 a year. Elena, who banked her raises and avoided lifestyle creep, saves 20%. She invests $40,000 a year. Run this forward 30 years. Assuming a standard boring stock market return of about 7% a year, John ends up with roughly $940,000. That sounds great, right? Almost a millionaire. Until you look at Elena. Elena, with the exact same salary, the exact same market returns, and the exact same timeline, ends up with $3.8 million. That is a nearly $3 million gap between two people who receive the exact same paychecks. John didn't get unlucky. Elena didn't hit the crypto lottery. She just kept a slightly bigger slice of the pie and allowed compound interest to do the heavy lifting in the background for 3 decades. That savings rate is what allows Elena to look at a toxic boss and say, "I quit." It's what allows her to take a 2-week vacation without checking her email in a cold sweat. Her job is a choice. John's job is a hostage situation. If you're watching this and doing the mental math on your own life and feeling a little sick to your stomach, good. It means you are awake. Now, how do you actually climb out of the hole? I am not going to leave you here with just a depressing diagnosis. Here is your 3-step escape plan. Number 1, fix your savings rate before you try to fix your income. Do not wait for the next raise to save, because we already know what happens. The lifestyle creep will eat it. You have to automate your investments so the money leaves your checking account the very second you are paid. Hide the money from yourself. Bank your next raise before your lifestyle even realizes the money exists. Number 2, guard against fixed cost like your life depends on it, because it does. The massive mortgage, the $1,000 car payment, the heavy subscriptions, those are your golden handcuffs. Keep your fixed monthly overhead as lean as humanly possible. If you want to splurge on a nice vacation in cash, do it. But do not sign a 5-year contract for a luxury car that demands a blood sacrifice every 30 days. Number 3, stop measuring your success by your salary. Your salary is just the water pressure in the hose. What actually matters is how much water is left in the bucket at the end of the day. Track your liquid net worth. Ask yourself, if I lost my job next Tuesday, how many months could I survive on the cash and index funds I have right now? A massive income can buy you a life that looks absolutely incredible to strangers on the internet, but it cannot buy you freedom. Only the money you keep can do that. The promotion was never the prize.
What you save is the prize. And no one, not the bank, not the car dealership, and certainly not your employer, is ever going to prioritize that number for you. You have to circle it yourself. You can start tomorrow. You can start with your very next paycheck. Choose to be Elena. Stop living rich on paper and start building reality. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.